Ah, nice bit of soldering there. Look at that. Heat first, then solder. Right, Shedhacks. Hi, Shedhackers. Today we're going to do a little bit of work on literacy and the words we use in our shed when we're describing things. And Jake and I at times write up notes and we write them down so we can record for a later date what we've done. And it also helps our viewers perhaps in some of the dialogue that we have in our links. Okay, so here's some of the information we've been studying over the weeks, and this one here shows how a house is constructed in oak, and look at the key words I've used to make it really clear as to what's going on in the structure. And then moving on, you can see here there's more formal methods of writing information in paragraphs, and they've tried to explain in quite some detail how this construction is put together, including the factory arrangements and how it may appear in the finished product. And then moving on, we also study some information on architecture, and some of the materials that we use or mentioned in some of our notes appear in here, which is quite surprising really, because this is all very high-end stuff. Look at that magnificent building there. Look at that, all very sustainable in some way, unlike the airport of course. And then you can see this appears in all sorts of ways, can't you? Okay.
Oh, Dad, what are you doing there?
Oh, yes, does look a little bit like me. Never mind. Hi, Shedhackers, returning to our literacy special. Don't forget, if you're not sure about any words, you can use a dictionary or a thesaurus to find out the true meanings and similar meanings. Okay, we use that all the time. Right, now, what I've done with my son, I've actually produced a little literacy information sheet. And you can see here, if I put this piece of wood down here, and another one here, sustainable piece of wood, I hope, we've actually written up some keywords and discussion topics that we've been talking about in our Shedhacks clips. So we've got some keywords like abrasive paper, and accurate, and alloy. We talked about alloys, didn't we? Because they're a mixture of metals. And we looked at the bandsaw, and we looked at other information regarding how things are fitted together, like the halving joint, and meanings of the words like ductility, something that can be actually pushed through a certain shape and maintain its shape. And then we've also looked at types of woods, haven't we? Ash, beech, blockwood, and cedar and chipboard, that man-made wood there, and then deal, that's softwood there, and Douglas fir. Looked into those and some more woods here, and we've discussed certainly in one of our videos a whole series of information on types of metals, non-ferrous and brass alloys, and various smart metals that we're perhaps going to go into in another video. All very useful to know if you're going to end up somewhere like this. So that's where you want to end up, guys, somewhere like that in university. And the way you can do that is by learning more and more. So Jake is learning all this, and I'm sure you can too with me. Look at this, the key terms for the equipment we use, and metric conversions, all very useful stuff to know. Okay, so moving on, we're looking at materials here. And the properties, the bending, the stiffness, the compressive strength, how much it can take if you crush it together. The density, okay, how heavy it is, that is in relation to. The elasticity, look, that means how much you can stretch it or compress it, I suppose, like a rubber. Hardness, how easily you can scratch it. Porosity, how easily water will transfer through it. Tensile strength, how easily it can be pulled apart, like nylon rope, you know, pulled from one to another. And torsion, how you can twist it and so forth. And toughness is a general sort of strength word we use. Hi, Shedhacks. Oh, Jake, we must go for a spin in our car this weekend. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so we've done a little worksheet here to help people, and I think it helps Jake with his writing, and there's some really good points here, and this has been pulled off from other books. This is not necessarily my work. This has been just rewritten really. And it says, and we all know this, I think every sentence must start with a clear capital letter, and every sentence must stop with some sort of form of punctuation. Okay, and it goes into lots of detail about nouns and how they're used and how they should be associated with other words, how things are connected together. And we'll move up here. Here's connectives. And also, in addition to, furthermore, as well as. And we try to be as clear as we can when we write and speak. It's not always easy. And here's some more punctuation. There's the old full stop. We all know these, but sometimes they're not used in the right place. So these Shedhackers, if we can get used to some of these in our explanations and comparisons and comments, this would be great. And it also helps my son Jake. Check your spellings every time. And of course, keep going back to your dictionary. Thanks very much, Shedhackers. So in summary, there's a little bit on grammar here I put down. Don't use any slang words. It's awful when you read slang. No informal language like I'm gonna, terrible. Just make sure you read out what you've written and listen to what's said. Be clear about the purpose of the piece of writing you're doing it to. Know who your audience is. And that's really important. Who are the people you're trying to get across to? And use a suitable layout so the text is clear and you can actually read it clearly. And that can include your handwriting. If you can't read it, or it's hard for a friend to read it, very often nobody else can read it either. And then going back to spelling, sound out the word. Often words are phonetically spelt. That means the way they sound is the way they're spelt. Think about how it looks, the words connected together. Think about similar words if you're using similar words all the time. Okay, and then moving on, Jake's just going to show you some of the keywords that we'll be using. And I just hope this has been useful in some way and it hasn't been too uninteresting for you. Thanks, Shedhackers.